Greetings. Welcome to Catholicism and Coffee. I am Stephen Gasinski. Beth will not be here for this episode, but that's okay. I am, to make up for her absence in a very limited way, I am joined by Christopher Chance. Christopher, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I've been looking forward to this review.
Well, I'm sure you have. So, usually I do the housekeeping for the channel at the end, but I'm going to start it off here. First off, if you like our video, like our video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what's the matter with you? Subscribe to the channel so that way you know when we're going to be on. And Beth did make up for the fact that she won't be in this episode. She wrote a new blog post that was published this morning, talking about the superhero film Sky High, which is actually going to be having its 20th anniversary later this month on July 29th, I believe is when it came out in 2005. So check that out. It's a great article. I got to read it before all of you because, well, I get to read things. Another thing I get to read, and you all have to read, is my book, Film Forming Faith. Oh, shoot, I forgot to grab my author's copy. But anyway, it is available on Amazon. Definitely check it out. Chris, do you have any words about it?
It's a book worth reading if you're wanting to learn about films and at least for some of them, the surprising theological messages that could be gleaned from it. And I also forgot to bring my copy of the book that Stephen gifted me. It's in the other room.
That's all good.
But I want to reassure y'all that I do have a copy of it, a physical copy.
Does. Yes, he does. Because it was, I sent a couple of people copies because they were kind enough to assist me in writing the book and helping me in the writing process. So fortunately I was able to do that for them. And I'm glad Chris got his because I was a little worried at first. I'm like, is it going to get to him on time? But it was. So. But yes, you can get this on Amazon. I will put it in the comments of this video, the link, so you can purchase the book. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in it. Let's see. We have our blog. We'll be having a new post next week. We're going to be doubling up on posts because our schedule's been a little wonky this month because August is just a longer month, so that makes things a little bit more fun. So we'll be talking about that. Let's see. What other housekeeping do I have? But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. We're pretty good about reading the comments. We don't always respond to them, but we do read them, just so we know what you all think. And if you are really from just the view count on videos, you've been liking this new path we've been going down, and I'm really happy about that. And if you have suggestions about some movies that we could talk about or review, that would be awesome. Go ahead and throw your comments up there, but be careful because I may take you up on that. And I will hold you in contempt if you make me watch a terrible movie like Chris did to us when. But I got revenge on him. I know vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, but it's a little sweet. So I wanted to take advantage of it while I could. And we had to sit through conclave. So there you go. There you have it. There you are. Chris, do you have anything to plug or talk about before we begin?
Nothing's coming to mind. I know I have ideas for future blog posts and topics for the website, but that's still in the process right now. They're reviewing the rough draft I sent. That's probably going to have to be split into two, if I'm guessing. Don't worry, it's not another 5-part thing, but
no, and that's okay.
I did manage to contain myself this time. I made sure I stuck to topic.
Which we appreciate us in the for those of us who edit these blog posts. I've had to trim myself down. So let's get into the movie. So we're going to be talking about Superman, released a couple of weeks ago. It's doing pretty well in the box office. It's actually at about last I checked, at least according to IMDb, it was over 400 million, which is not bad. I did some math on it. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it's about it's not quite made its budget back, but it's getting there. And there's the question of, well, what about marketing? Because they had a very big marketing campaign, but also there were entities, including Milkbone, which was featured very prominently in the film, that they paid to have a spot in there. So that may have actually their sponsored probably covered their promotional budget. We don't know. I don't think it's probably. I'm gonna guess it's probably not a $400 million uh, production budget because uh, uh, James Gunn has and Peter Safran, who are the heads of DC and the head of Warner Brothers, David Zaslav, has said on multiple occasions that he doesn't want to have overgrown budgets for his films, unlike another company. I brought up the other company that currently has a superhero film out right now. We're going to talk about that, and probably closer to the end. Who throw money and expect everything to work out. Where I don't think DC is going to have that kind of mentality, because they tried that and it didn't work. It got them. It got pummeled, rightfully so, because the movies were terrible. So,
yeah.
We'll talk about that in a bit. So, Chris, you're a bit more of a comic guy than I am, and that's okay. Why don't you go into this history of Superman, because you expressed interest in discussing that. So I'll fill in any blanks, movie wise or media wise.
Yes. I apologize if the history lesson might bore some of the audience, but this is primarily for those who inexplicably have no idea who Superman is. I figured by giving the history lesson, and at least in the past what his character was, that could help bring a objective view of this film, which I had to do for myself so that I can remain positive. And good thing, because the film was good. But in any event, he's one of the first comic book superheroes. He's been around since 1938. Created by writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster. So, yes, Superman has been around in the American culture for 87 years by this point. Thus, unless you were born yesterday, it would be difficult for me to believe you don't know who Superman is. And despite the bad press and cynical misrepresentation the character unfairly gets, in my opinion, Superman very much remains the most popular and iconic comic book superhero to this day. Like it or not, Superman has become the superhero archetype. And for those concerned that Man of Steel was the first Superman film ever to have been made, don't worry, he's been adapted since 1940.
Mm-hmm.
So the Zack Snyder film was not the first time Superman has been adapted, if you're like me and still have some trauma from certain interesting writing choices that film gave of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though
Yes, son, let me die in a tornado.
Even though I actually really liked the movie, but yeah, there were a couple of choices that are questionable. I have mixed feelings about.
If I'm being fair, Man of Steel's a mixed bag, but I'm being honest at the same time.
No, I'm right there with you. Parts of it I really like, and parts of it I am not too fond of.
Yes. So, anyways, in terms of Superman's inspiration, we have John Carter of Mars. and the novel Gladiator, specifically the character Hugo Danner. And as a fellow Batman fan, Stephen, you'll be happy to know that Douglas Fairbanks, the actor in the 1920 film Mark of Zorro, served as an inspiration for Superman as much as it did Batman.
Yeah. That
Mainly
does
for
surprise
Superman's bravado that he naturally has to adopt.
me. Mm-hmm.
And to my amusement, when doing a brief research, apparently the Popeye cartoons were also an influence on Superman, which is now making me want to have a crossover between Popeye and Superman. Please make this, Warner Brothers.
No, what you could do, what better, since Superman is going to be entering public domain very soon,
Hmm.
and Popeye is already in public domain. You could have a superhero. You could have a crossover in that horror genre. You know, those tiny budget that they make for bus change that they find, and have them kind of go head to head, in the horror film. I could get behind that. That would be fun.
Hmm.
Superman can stop Popeye, the evil, child slayer character.
Um, and for my father's sake, since he'll be disappointed in me if I don't mention this, yes, the name of Superman's headquarters, the Fortress of Solitude, was taken from the Doc Savage stories. So
Hmm.
I'm aware of that, so don't worry. Like Batman, Superman and Clark Kent's dual identity was inspired by Zorro and the Scarlet Pimpernel, which is obvious because, yes, it takes a lot more than glasses to have Clark fool people that he's not Superman. He doesn't just put on glasses and magically, oh, I'm not Superman. Now I'm Superman. No, it's his entire demeanor. He adopts a completely different personality. If you don't believe that, watch one of the more famous scenes from the Christopher Reeve Superman film, where
Oh,
you actually see him physically change.
it's a great piece of acting, great work of directing from Richard Donner.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely some great stuff in that particular scene, and that's the motto. You have to physically change,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's a great moment, and it's inspired me in my acting for various movies and such. So definitely a great scene to look at, just for actors in general, but definitely great
Yes.
for Clark Kent to Superman.
And there is more I could discuss. I actually wrote a lot more. I'm paraphrasing what I wrote for it. But one thing I do want to mention, because I've heard this too many times, Superman's name Superman is not directly inspired from Friedrich Nietzsche.
Mm-mm.
I have heard various people, ranging from clergymen to college professors, state as such since I was in high school, and I am tired of it. Yes, you could argue it's pure coincidence that they happen to share the same name, but nobody who reads a or watches a Superman story can honestly tell me, yeah, Clark really thinks Nietzsche had good ideas and that he established a model you can live by.
They actually make a joke about it in the TV series Smallville, in the pilot episode,
Hmm.
about that. And I mean, I really doubt that Nietzsche inspired a pair of Jewish creators to create a
Hmm.
superhero. That makes no sense. Just think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
What
and
silliness.
yeah, and on that note, apparently during World War II, Nazi Germany didn't like Superman because they quote considered him to be too Jewish. So,
Funny enough that we have the first man of Jewish descent playing Superman in this film with
oh
David Cornsweet.
no, I did not know that.
So that's kind of a big deal in certain circles. I
Hmm.
um we'll discuss more of his performance and such later, because actually you brought up something with Chris Reeve, and I want to talk about that as well.
Yeah, and if you are wanting comic book characters from either DC or Marvel that actually do emulate Nietzsche, I recommend you turn to the supervillains, because characters like Darkseid, David Banner from the 2003 Hulk film, who straight up quotes Nietzsche when he's going on his rant.
Mm-hmm.
Wade Eiling, the Joker, Luthor, who happens to be the villain of our movie, Magneto, the Elite, Green Goblin, Red Skull, and Zod, they all fit Nietzsche better than Superman does if you actually look at what they said. And yes, X-Men fans, I identified Magneto as adopting a Nietzschean view of life. You can be angry at me if you want. I will not change my mind on that.
I happen to agree with you. Also, I'd add Doctor Doom to the mix.
Wait, which character?
Victor Von Doom.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
How dare you?
Yeah. How dare I forget about the main villain of Marvel Comics? I should bow my head in shame.
Well, we're talking DC today, so
Yeah.
I'll forgive
fair.
you. I'll spare you. You'll get absolution for that.
Yes. And the reason why Superman doesn't act like Nietzsche is because his adoptive parents gave him a Christian upbringing.
Yeah.
Maybe not explicitly stated in the comic books, but if you know what to look for, it's obvious where he bases his values on.
Heck, they mention it in various media that they are Christians, that they practice, because they talk about, oh, pastor such and such. I was watching, I decided after seeing the movie, I'm like, okay, I'm going to compare this to other Superman media. And I wanted to finish Superman the Animated Series from the 90s. And there's an episode where Kara, Supergirl, mentions, oh, did Pastor such and such, she's talking to Jonathan and Martha, did Pastor such and such, I can't remember his name, talk about this thing? So it is not outside the realm of possibility that Clark went with Jonathan and Martha to church. So that probably influenced him.
Yes, and I also just remembered the 4th season of the Young Justice cartoon, which received mixed feelings from among fans. They also acknowledged that Superman's adoptive parents were Christian. So, this isn't a random rambling that I'm making just because I'm on a Catholic podcast. It's in the source material that Superman was raised Christian. Likely Methodist when we consider where he was born and raised, but still Christian.
Yeah, no. It's definitely worthwhile. And just the way his parents carry themselves and such. They're salt of the earth, Bible Belt folks.
Yes. And because of that, that also implies that if you're happy Superman doesn't behave like Homelander or Omni-Man, you need to thank Ma and Paul Kent, because they had to have been the ones to teach him how to control his powers and use them responsibly when they started to outwardly manifest.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, you can't convince me that they didn't have a role in that.
Oh, that's actually one of the things for Man of Steel I actually like, because there's one point where Clark is just overwhelmed and Martha is there to try to calm him down because he is not able to control his powers at that point.
Yeah,
that's one
that
of
was one of the better scenes.
Yeah, it's one of the great scenes of the film.
Yeah, and then they ruined it by how they kill off Jonathan Kent. Yes, Snyder, I'm still bitter about that. You could have done it by not writing it stupid.
Or just do it like the Donner film. He has a heart attack. That's what happens in almost every other version, unless his dad is still alive. Like animated series, Lois and Clark.
And speaking of which, originally in the comics, both Jonathan and Martha die after Clark turns 18. But thankfully, John Byrne in 1986, when he did the post-Crisis on Infinite Earths reboot, decided to keep them alive well into adulthood, well into Clark's adulthood, so that, he could have continued guidance and confidants.
Yeah.
And, make him more relatable, because Superman at his core is a very human and relatable character, despite his godlike abilities. Because, he could easily conquer everything and nobody would stop him. And yet he chooses to be an investigative reporter.
Mm-hmm. There are times he
Yeah.
actually does conquer the whole world in certain comic and game iterations,
Yes.
such as Injustice or
Yeah.
Red Sun, or
Yeah.
there's actually a version of Injustice in the animated series, Superman animated series, where he's controlled by Lex
Right.
Luthor,
Yeah, I
and
forgot about
he
that
becomes,
episode.
quite vile.
Yeah, and in the game Injustice was heavily inspired by the Justice Lords episode
Oh
in
yeah,
the
that
Justice
too.
League cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, it's eerily parallel. the different stuff they do.
Yeah, just a little
Oh, and also with John Byrne. John Byrne was also the one to first state that Superman's costume was created by Martha Kent. So, you also have that nice home touch as well, which is what I liked in the pilot episode for Superman and Lois on the CW, which, despite being on the CW, was actually a good comic book show. Sounds a bit oxymoronic, but it was actually good. They didn't outright disrespect the character.
for once.
Yeah.
They did it on all the other shows.
Mhm. Yeah.
No,
Where,
Lois and Clark, they had the same thing that Martha made,
Mhm.
the costume. And there's this beautiful montage of him trying on different, really ridiculous costumes
Mhm.
to the tune of Bonnie Tyler's Holding Out for a Hero. It makes me ridiculously happy because I love that song and I love the scene because Dean Cain just rolls with it because,
Yeah.
he's got a
But
really warped sense of humor.
yeah, anyways, and heading back to that pilot episode where they're having the flashback scene of when Superman first appears as Superman, there's this one moment where a kid compliments his costume, and Superman thanks him and states, "My mom made it," before flying away to rescue more people. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
did it in
oh,
Lois and Clark too. They ripped it
they
off of her, and
understand
that's okay.
Superman. Thank you, show.
Yeah, Lois and Clark did the same thing.
Yes.
It was great.
Yes, and then other than that, I do have notes on his mission for truth, justice, and the American way, but I think I will hold back
Okay.
on that for the actual film review, since we're going to be discussing theological stuff, and I feel that'll be better served there in retrospect.
Sounds good. So yeah, we had a few movies before then, but the most well-known Superman movie is the one made in 1978, directed by Richard Donner, starring Christopher Reeve, and had Academy Award winners Gene Hackman and Marlon Brando.
Who mispronounced Krypton, but he didn't care because he was Marlon Brando.
I'm Marlon F. and Brando. I can do whatever I want, basically. And he did. He did try to do some ridiculous stuff just to jerk Donner around, but fortunately Donner had kind of had some warning to Brando's idiosyncrasy, so he was able to handle it.
Mhm.
It was funny, but it was a great. It's a solid film. It's cheesy. There are a couple of things that don't make a whole lot of sense, but you know what? You roll with it, and it's an
Mhm.
enjoyable film, and I still watch it and enjoy it. And then we had 4 Chris Reeve movies. Then we had a very long time where we didn't have a Superman movie proper. And then in 2006, we got Superman Returns, which Bryan Singer directed, and he treated it like a sequel of sorts to the first 2 films.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a Yeah, we're going to pretend the third and fourth films never happened. Just treat the first two films as happening before Superman Returns.
It's the best policy.
Yeah. And it also had a pre-scandal Kevin Spacey doing a pretty good job at imitating Gene Hackman's Lex until he removes the facade to shank Superman from behind during the climax.
Yeah, that was it's funny. I kind of thought of him as like a cross between Gene Hackman and Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor from Smallville. And it was a nice balance. I liked Brandon Routh in the role. Kate Bodsworth was kind of a snooze fest as Lois Lane. But
she also looked too young.
yeah,
It's like when I had rewatched that a few years ago, I understood the criticism of, okay, now I can see it. She looks like she's out of high school.
She was 25
Mm-hmm.
when she did that role. Because the thinking was, oh, we don't want her to be like way too old for, Brandon Routh Superman. Like, I think you overcompensated there, dude.
Yeah.
And then we had Man of Steel, which we've spoke about ad nauseum, and then we've had various shows and movies where he's appeared, but we hadn't had a Superman movie proper since 2013 until this one, which was which we're going to talk about a little bit more. So there's my spiel about Superman media. I mean, we've had a bunch of animated ones, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll
I
talk
still
about
like
this.
Superman versus the Elite. That's still the best animated.
I need to watch that one.
Yeah.
George Newbern voices Superman in that one, right?
Yeah, they got him to reprise the role.
Yes. I love him and Tim Daly both, but they're so different, but I love them both as that character.
Yeah.
Let's see. So let's talk about the movie itself. My review is overall, I actually really like the movie. It has a lot of problems. First off, Crypto is supposed to be a lab. If you want to go comic accurate, get me a freaking lab. Not this cow mangy mutt creature. I want my lab. In particular about dogs. Sue me. If you talk to me about Garfield and that live action abomination, I will lose my damn mind. I am very particular about dogs and cats and what they're supposed to look like.
This is the first time I've heard Steven ever bring up the Bill Murray Garfield film, so if you're curious about my reaction.
Lorenzo Music is Garfield. Changed my mind. But I like the movie overall. There were some, I know they trimmed out a lot. I think there's another half hour of that film somewhere. It was smart choppy. That they trimmed it down to only a little over 2 hours, but because there's one point, by the way, spoilers are open. We are going to be spoiling the heck out of this movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, turn off, go elsewhere, come back to us. There's a point where the little monster that you see in the trailer, it's a little baby thing, maybe about maybe 2 feet high at some point. And it's like, oh, it doesn't look that dangerous. And Otis says, it'll get bigger, and then cut bigger kaiju monster causing mayhem everywhere. I'm like, And then they were talking about, oh, he was originally in a coffee shop, and then he suddenly was 7 feet tall, and then he grew bigger. I'm like, where's the footage? I want to see that. I want to see a monster, wrecking a coffee shop. I'll cry over the coffee, unless it's Starbucks.
Starbucks coffee isn't coffee.
It is not. It is communist propaganda. Um, I want to see a monster wrecking a coffee shop at 7 feet tall. I want this destruction. I want to see it, but we didn't get to see that, and that made me sad. Um, I was surprised very pleasantly that James Gunn actually restrained himself from being irreverent too much in his humor. There were a
Well,
couple of times his Gunnisms peaked out, but it was limited, and that made me happy.
hmm
And he actually understood the characters. I think he understood the character of Superman pretty well.
yeah, I was surprised
I was
how well they understood his character, even when you can see that he still needed some minor growth in certain areas in terms of his character arc.
Oh, absolutely. Um, David Cornsweet gave a great performance. And actually, there's one thing in the trailer and in the film that I really like. That one point when Lois is about to interview him, it's a practice interview. He changes his voice when he speaks as Superman.
Yes.
It made me so happy. I'm like, you were inspired by Chris Reeve. Good.
hmm
Because
Yeah.
he's usually, yeah, yeah. And he wasn't too, but he didn't over the top do it. He was just like,
hmm
well, I'm just a normal guy, I'm a
Yes.
mild-mannered reporter, and then mislaid. I'm like, oh, this
hmm
is good. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, he gets it.
hmm
Now, David Cornsweet did a good job. Rachel Brosnahan did a great job as Lois. I was
hmm
very happy with her performance. She looks the character. She and David had excellent chemistry. I was like, oh, good. Two leads who actually, look like they like each other.
hmm
You have a normal heterosexual relationship. Yay. And it wasn't,
Yeah.
it's not like she was, and there wasn't any gross over sexualization or anything. I mean, it was like, guy likes girl likes guy. All right. I was happy about that because a lot of, especially trailers for the competing film, I don't believe the two leads in that film like each other. And they're supposed to be married. I don't believe it.
hmm
I mean, I'm looking from trailers, but I've heard from other reviewers, it's just like they have no chemistry whatsoever. That
Yeah.
was actually one of
And
my biggest complaints about most of the romantic couples in big movies today, because it's like they have no chemistry. Why do you cast these two people?
yeah.
Because they don't like each other. You can tell.
hmm And speaking of Superman and Lois as a comic book trivia, they've officially have been married in the comics since 1996.
Hmm.
Roundabouts, the god awful New 52 reboot decided to do away with that in 2011. That, among other things, I'm still bitter at doing. But thankfully, with DC Rebirth in 2016, the company was like, hey, fans don't really like Superman anymore. Oh, yeah, they keep saying how they want the original Superman, well, the original Superman to come back. Oh, yeah, let's do that. Then suddenly Superman's comics kicked up. Yeah. Yes, we want to have a superhero who's in a stable, long lasting marriage,
Hmm.
which is
Actually,
for a while what Superman and Spider Man represented.
yeah. Funny enough, they actually during that time, Lois and Clark was on the air, and they were having to work it
hmm
out with the comics because they wanted to marry
Yeah.
Lois and Clark in the show.
Yeah, in the final season.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
and
was
so
their
they had
finale.
to back and forth, and fortunately, DC Comics was able to work around it, and they had the death of Superman,
hmm
and because the show was like, "We're not ready to marry them yet. Can we work it out?" And they actually had them married at the same time,
hmm
so that was kind of cool. Fun
Yes.
other trivia fact. But yeah, no, it was great. I'm not sure. I believe the one thing that took me out of the film, just as far as characters goes, I'm not sure I believe that Dorky Jimmy Olsen is this babe magnet. Like, um, really?
I have to admit that I found it funny that he was extremely awkward at the fact that this tall blonde bombshell was inexplicably attracted to him. It's like they did good comedy there.
Oh, it was great comedy, and
Oh,
I am
and
sad. There was one thing I was really hoping for there were two things I was really hoping for in this film. I'll talk about the other one later. I was really wanting Lex to yell. I'm gonna have to get far away from the microphone. I really wanted that to happen, but we didn't get to
mm,
have that, and I was brokenhearted. So James
well,
Gunn, you need to fix this,
it's
sir.
okay. Miss Tessmacher was now the abused girlfriend of Lex that was also Jimmy Olsen's ex. But yeah, yeah, but yeah, Nicholas Holt, he did a good job as Lex. I believed him when he said he was envious, and Holt did a good job. Just if you think about it, show how pathetic Lex Luthor's character actually is as a person when you study him. But they also did a good job of showing, well, no, I wouldn't be intimidated by him if I came across him on the street, unless I was in his immediate circle and, spoiler alert, knew that he had this film's take on Bizarro under his control and had a pocket dimension where he imprisoned people that said mean things about him. It's like, okay, in that aspect, I can see how he might intimidate some individuals.
Yeah. Oh no, he did a great job. Nick Holt is a
Mhm.
fantastic actor. He really needs to get more
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, I had my doubts at first because the last thing I saw him in was in Reinfeld, where he played Reinfeld opposite Nicolas Cage's Dracula. So the very last thing I saw him in was in a comedy. It's like, oh, right, he can't act, Yeah. Yeah, I also like how Lex just wasn't hiding the fact that he was asking the U.S. government officials, "Can you please, pretty please, give me permission to murder Superman because I don't like him?"
That was fantastic. That's one.
Yes, like it was just straightforward and to the point. No, we're not going to do another origin story, thank goodness. Superman's already
Yeah,
active, so let's just have Lex be Lex.
yeah. And I like the threes. Three has a very prominent place in this film.
Wait, the what?
Threes
Oh, the
in the
freeze.
opening,
Hmm.
title thing.
Yeah.
Threes were very prominent there, and I was like, okay, there's some consistency there. That's nice.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I was very happy about that.
But
More three.
yeah, but Crypto's dog breed aside, well, yeah, it wasn't accurate to the comics, but I will admit I was endlessly amused by how they wrote his character because anybody who's ever owned a dog understands perfectly the anguish of Superman and the other characters when Crypto's going on it, such as the fellow friend of the show, Brad. It's like he and I were both apparently both laughed at the fact that Crypto wanted to play with Superman at the beginning of the film rather than immediately drag him to the Fortress of Solitude to get healed because all Crypto saw was there's this human whistling for me and he's lying down on the ground. Obviously he has to play. Obviously he wants to play with me. Yeah, or him trying to destroy Mr. Terrific's T spheres because from Crypto's perspective they were flying balls in the air.
And he was just chasing a bunch of flying squirrels like 5 minutes ago.
Hmm. Yeah, or the fact that he insisted on sitting on Lois Lane's lap when she was trying to fly the Justice League aircraft, despite her protests. Like, Yeah, that's dog behavior. I will sit on you.
As someone who's lived with dogs a good part of his life, yes.
Or the, and then there was also cute moments with Crypto, such as when he rested his shoulder over Superman at the first post-credit scene. That I actually heard a "aw" from the audience when that occurred in the theaters.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
Yeah.
there were a couple of awe moments, and there were most of the laughs in my theater were for Crypto.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. And they also explained why Crypto wasn't trained, because like the entire film, I'm thinking, okay, this is Superman's pet since he was a kid. Why doesn't he have him trained? And then at the end, they revealed, oh no, it's not his pet. He actually is fostering him, because in this version, Crypto belongs to Supergirl. So no wonder he isn't trained.
Supergirl's, I'm
I did not like drunk Supergirl. That's one of the few things I didn't like about the film. It's like, really? This is how you're gonna introduce her?
Tom King.
Hmm?
Tom King. He wrote basically Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and it's based on a Tom King story.
Oh.
Basically,
Hmm.
his version is the drunk party girl.
Yeah. Tom King was the, and
He's a
I don't mean this maliciously, but wasn't Tom King the writer that some fans say should have a restraining order against Batman after what he did?
yes. There
Yeah.
are fans who really, really despise him, and
Hmm.
rightfully so.
Yeah. Yeah. The only other thing I didn't like, and yeah, I know it was in character, but I kind of didn't care for the Kendra Saunders Hawk Girl just straight up executing the corrupt political official.
Yeah, that was kind of
Yes,
scum.
it's like really the, when based on the stuff that you're bringing up as good talking points for Superman, you're just gonna do that. I better hope Superman doesn't find out.
He would have words.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Especially
that
since the way they presented it, it wasn't a combat scenario where, okay, yeah, this was justifiable. Like they
no,
didn't present it that way either, which is why I didn't like it. Because if it was a true battlefield scenario and this is her fighting an enemy combatant, yeah, okay, I'm fine with that.
yeah,
But they didn't.
there, there were a couple of times that I thought, okay, the Justice Gang overdid
Hmm.
things. I was like, really? You're gonna kill the creature?
Hmm.
Superman can. Superman has proven he can slow it down. He can knock it out.
Hmm.
Why are you killing it? There's no good reason.
Yeah.
This film is
And
actually very pro-life. I
oh,
listened to another
yeah, when he was holding up the metamorphosed son,
yeah,
it's like
and
that.
he's actually in throughout the film, and this is an argument he has with Lois in that interview scene. He goes out of his way to not kill.
Hmm.
He will, as
Hear
Batman
that,
put it in the
Snyder?
great film Justice League War. I know. In Justice League War, you bruise, but you don't kill.
Mm,
He may break some bones, but he will not kill.
yeah.
And then that's a great moment in the film.
Hmm.
Great
Yeah.
moments because
Yeah.
yeah, there's that whole people are like, oh, but he uses his heat vision on the soldiers. He goes, yeah, he melts their armor. They're not going to be able to do much without their armor.
Hmm. And if you want a, speaking of a Superman film where him not killing people is criticized and is the main plot point, I recommend the animated film Superman versus the Elite. Because essentially in that film, the main plot is him going up against a group of anti-heroes led by, well, Manchester Black, who's like, yeah, we're just going to kill everybody and have instant gratification. And Superman literally has almost everybody turn against him when he decides to not go for that in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, yeah, Superman, he definitely struggled with literally everybody except for his close friends turning against him in the movie, right, Stephen?
Yeah.
It's like that was excellent social commentary that I was surprised Hollywood was willing to put out, given the climate over the past 8 years.
Yeah, no. I think that was people are theorizing that is James Gunn kind of thumbing his nose at Hollywood because he was canceled briefly by Disney. And I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But no, overall, it was interesting to see as far
Mm-hmm.
as a plot point in the film.
Yeah. Oh, and I
Cyber
guess.
monkeys aside.
Yeah,
See, I love
I
the cyber monkeys. They made me happy, but that's just me.
I had heard rumors about the cyber monkeys, how apparently it was supposed to be this political thing, but when I saw it in the movie, honestly, I wanted to laugh because I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a comic book. Why am I not surprised that Lex Luthor would have this if he has a pocket dimension? And yes, Lex Luthor is that pathetically petty and envious that he would train a bunch of robots to type Superman hate on Twitter.
It made me happy. I was loving
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm like, yay, cyber
Yeah,
monkey.
yeah, but I also remember going, oh crap, when the Luthor's thugs decided to threaten Metamorpho's son after Metamorpho broke him and Superman out so that Superman can rescue him. I'm like, oh, Metamorpho's one of the few people who can go toe to toe with Superman in a fight, and you just threatened his son.
Actually, if you watch
Mm-hmm.
the Justice League animated series, he actually took on the whole Justice League and almost bloody near beat them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So yeah,
because if you give Metamorpho time,
give him time and just time to research and know how to beat people.
mm-hmm.
You're toast.
Yeah, it would have been it would have been worse if they had Firestorm in the film teaming up with Metamorpho. By that point, you're just screwed.
Uh-huh. Oof. Oof. Oof.
Yeah. Oh,
Oof.
uh, props to Nathan Fillion finally getting to play Green Lantern as himself and not as a voice actor.
I know.
He's like
It's
he
been
did a good
what?
job as Hal
Emerald
Jordan
Knights.
in the animated films, and now he's Guy Gardner.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed he wasn't Hal Jordan, but you know what? He made a good Guy Gardner.
Yeah, and this is obviously Guy Gardner after he got head trauma in the comics that turned his personality into a bit of an a-hole. Because, that's the Guy Gardner everybody knows.
I want Batman to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
I really want that to happen.
Yes. Yeah, just as it happened in the comics, punch him after Batman tricks him into taking off the power ring, and then leave him knocked out for an entire issue, and then randomly for the next issue, for one panel, he wakes up and then accidentally knocks himself out again when he hits his head on the table.
Sounds like Bruce.
Yeah, because Guy Gardner's personality, I mean, when you read him in the comics, he's actually a nice individual. It's just personality adjustment from the trauma, from getting blown up. His personality was making it hard for him to accept orders from Batman. So Batman's like, okay, you want to fight? Let's fight.
Yeah, no, it's great, and Fillion made that character work, and I really hope
Yes.
we get to see him again. We are going to be seeing him again. He's going to be in Peacemaker, and apparently he's going to show up in the Lantern show, which I love the casting. I don't like the look of it so far. I love the casting though. Kyle Chandler is Hal Jordan. I'm like, Not who I would have cast, but I'm going to let you go with it because
Well,
that could be really cool.
well, I think Gunn was also going for this is a veteran Hal Jordan,
Yeah.
from what I remember. Yeah. I was kind of surprised Peacemaker made an appearance, but I'm like, oh no, it's Gunn. He's not going to let that character go.
No, he's a little. That's his fetish. He has
Yeah.
a couple of fetishes. That one is one. I
Yeah.
don't know why, but okay.
Yeah. And then in terms, and I guess this can tie into the theological side of it, but I did like that they had Peacemaker kind of joining everybody and dragging Superman's name through the mud by adopting the wow, and he claimed to be so morally superior than the rest of us crowd.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, on the one hand, I'm like, really? Peacemaker, you're going to do that? But on the other hand, from what we saw of him in Suicide Squad, I'm not surprised. Because,
Yeah.
yeah, he would do that.
Yeah, he's kind of a tool. Um, let's see. Um, I like the rest of the cast. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sad we didn't get to see more of Isabella Merced and Nathan Fillion as Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner, respectively. I'm a little. I really liked Mr. Terrific. I did not know a lot about him.
Yeah, it's the second version of the character, but he was good.
No, I
And,
liked him a lot.
yeah, and the actor playing him, my sister was the one who told me this, but the actor playing him is part of the Twilight cast of holy crap, they can act, and you put him in something that's well written because he played Laurent in the first
Yeah.
two Twilight films.
No, he's a good actor. I really liked
Yeah,
him in this role, and he was just fun. Although there are a couple of times they take the Lord's name in vain in the movie, and that bothered me. But yeah,
yeah,
par for the
but
course.
yeah, that was also a character they understood as well,
Yes.
which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly felt weird that with the few details it was. Did you have a historian research every single character you were doing here to get them right? Because this feels weird. I'm not used to this.
Well, it's because he actually reads comics and actually loves
Hmm.
them. Unlike Marvel, where they tell you don't look at the source material.
Yeah, I remember when I heard that rumor.
Yeah. Whereas if I was working for Marvel and Feige told me that, I go tell him to go fly a kite. I'm going to read my comics.
Hmm.
Leave me alone and let me read my comics, and then I'll write a good
Yes.
script for you.
Yeah.
But that's why Marvel doesn't hire me. I am still
Mhm.
holding out hope that DC will hire me one day.
Oh.
Yes.
So what position are you wanting to get in this hypothetical hopeful scenario?
I want to write and direct and star in a Batman
Oh.
film. I'll
Oh.
direct Batman Brave and the Bold. I'm cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna have to sell me on Damian Wayne because I mean I still don't like the character that much because I remember when he was first introduced, but I also know that's going to be the Robin they're using. So like
Yeah.
Batman Brave and the Bold, you're gonna have to do a really good job making me like this character. Because I promise you, I'm not going to go into the film liking him on the onset. Because,
That's why you need to give it to me. I will do it. Or I will make
because,
him a character you love to hate.
yeah, because unless this is Damian Wayne who matured past his immature brattiness, I'm not going to be able to stand him. The character that is.
Mm-hmm. That poor
Yeah,
kid actor.
yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
I just thought of something horrible. We could make the meme of Batman pimp slapping Robin, and it would make sense in context.
yeah. There was one version of that I saw as another YouTuber where it was a Photoshop of the YouTuber doing the infamous Batman slap to the Damian Wayne Robin, and the caption said, "Either be Jason Todd or don't."
I want a
Which
live action Jason Todd. I want a
oh,
live action Death in the
oh
Family. I want it.
so what they did in the Titans doesn't count. The Titans TV show when they
I have never watched it. I do want to because I love Dick Grayson. He is my favorite Robin.
yeah
He's the first. He's the best.
yeah
Um,
I'm I'm told, and granted this is on hearsay, but I'm told they didn't exactly do a good job with Red Hood in that show.
that does not surprise me.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
Yes. So.
Um, so that's my review. I really liked it. There are some
Mhm.
editorial issues, a few writing issues, but I'm thankful that James Gunn actually did his research. He
Mhm.
actually did justice to the characters. I would have loved to see more of the characters. I think there is at least another 15 to 20 to 30 minutes of this film somewhere.
Yeah.
But they cut it down, which was smart.
Mhm.
You didn't make a 3-hour long movie. And people are all crazy about FF, Fantastic Four, being 90 minutes. And I'm like, that's because they want more movie screens because they want to make more money. It's
Yeah.
not for story purposes. It's to
Yeah.
put them on a screen and make more money, and that may be the cause of some folks who I were really surprised who were normally not fans of Marvel liking the film. I'm like, it's because it's shorter, that the pain is less.
Hmm.
Because they'll have the same criticisms, but like, oh, I love this movie, and I'm like, I like this movie. I'm like, but they have the exact same problems as these other films, and you hated them with the passion of 1,000 suns.
Hmm.
Make it make sense.
Yes.
But anyway.
Oh, and also James Gunn, thank you, and I mean this sincerely. Thank you for not giving us another origin story, because I did not need that. After Man of Steel, I've been turned off about origin stories for Superman. Mainly because I was afraid if they did, part of me was afraid of that they would take the challenge of how can we make this worse?
Yeah. Oh, what'd you think of the portrayal of Jonathan and Martha?
Um, I mean, they were minor characters, so I understand why we didn't get to see much of them. I because they were minor characters, I don't really. I think that's why they didn't have much of a personality beyond what we saw. But I do have to admit that I liked that they did them right for each of the respective things that they do in the film. Like, I really liked that speech Jonathan Kent gives Superman.
Oh, such a great scene. And the
Like,
actor who played Jonathan,
mhm.
he did not look like Jonathan to me, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to roll with it because this guy's a good
Yeah.
actor. He gets it.
Hmm.
And people are like, oh, why is he all blubbery mess? I'm like, his son almost died
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah. 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 His son was almost killed 2 to 3 times at this point in the film, and his son's reputation has been smeared through the mud.
He's going to be emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have kids. But if someone I loved was being drugged through the mud, had almost died multiple times, I'd be a bit of a mess too. And I know some of you are completely shocked because I have RSP, resting sourpuss face. But it would bother me.
Hmm.
And the fact that, but it's really good acting. And some people are going crazy about how Martha was screaming into the phone, basically yelling into the phone on speaker. I'm
I
like,
found that funny
I looked
because
at
I knew which age group they were making fun of there for the sake of a cheap joke.
um, and the thing is, I looked at the age group they are. I'm like, my parents do this. Lo and behold, they're the same age as my parents. I'm like, yep, this is right.
Yeah. Not to say that people their age don't know how to speak in normal volumes with cell phones, but there is that stereotype, which is why we found it funny.
Oh, I was my theater was cracking up, and it was a mix of ages.
Hmm.
So people were having a good time with it. They were having fun. They were having some good laughs. I was having good laughs. Oops, sorry. I did not mean to do that.
Oh, and in terms of moment of silences for fictional characters, moment of silence must be had in a vigil for the character that gave Superman falafel that one time when that was later killed by Lex. Because that
That
was
was
a
brutal.
scene that came out of nowhere, even for Lex. Even Lex was surprised that the Russian roulette he was
Oh, that was a
playing ended
great
there.
scene. And people are like, "Oh, Superman's crying." First of all, he's suffering from kryptonite, so
Hmm.
he's not his usual self. Second, he actually cares about human life,
Hmm.
so
Yeah,
he'd be pretty broken up.
yeah,
That's
yeah. This
that's
was
a
a.
core Superman thing. He
Mhm,
cares. And it's actually something that's a bit of a weakness for him. It's the other weakness besides kryptonite. He cares. And they
mhm.
played that up in the film and they did it so well.
Yeah, because Superman wants to save everybody, even Lex, and that is shown in the film
Done
because that's his
brilliantly.
character.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
what are your I've been ranting for 30 minutes now. So what are some of your things that I haven't said? Or if you want to
Um,
repeat stuff, that's fine.
I mean, I think I kind of put the stuff that was coming to mind interspersed with our half improv conversation. But one thing in terms of the theology that I really liked and could serve as a good talking point, if you want to choose to watch the film in these terms, is the film does a good job on the subject of scandal and libel and the various responses people give to it. Because for those who don't know, the main plot of the film is that Lex and a Wildstorm character known as Engineer breaks in to the Fortress of Solitude to steal the damaged recording of his biological parents. And while the film says that they didn't do any doctoring of what the damaged half had said, because, Mr. Terrific is an authority on his own part of me kind of has a slight suspicion that Lex might have been lying about what that second half translated as, because what it translated it as is, you know, oh, we must bring you to Earth so that you could have a harem and rule over those petty humans. And everybody except for the Justice Gang, and they call it the Justice Gang because that group really wasn't the Justice League. It was another comic book reference, which I can get into later. But, everybody except for Lois, them, Jimmy, Superman's parents, and I'm going to assume Perry White, even though he was a minor character because Perry White's a sharp guy, buys it hook, line, and sinker. And even when Guy Gardner wasn't sure what to think of it, his friendship with Clark was still kind of making was like, I don't want to believe this to be true, but you know him better than I. Is there a distinct possibility that this is true?
He asks.
Yeah.
He has to because of
Hmm.
his role as
Hmm.
Green Lantern of
Yeah.
Sector 8913, I think it is.
Well, I didn't catch which sector they gave him, but if he was supposed to be Earth's Green Lantern, it would be Sector 2814. And here I go, nerding out on a live stream.
I expect us to nerd out. That is our job.
Okay. But yeah, no, it's like, yeah, and I also liked the fact that Guy Gardner was also having his doubts on, he knew Superman was right since they're vigilantes anyways, that they should interfere in the armed conflict, but oddly enough, for his character, if you only take him at surface value, which is what a lot of people do with Guy Gardner, based on his abrasive personality, that you actually see him think and contemplate, okay, I know it's the right thing to intervene here, but should I actually do it?
Hmm.
Because, at the end of the day, all the Green Lanterns, with the exception of the Golden Age one, are essentially space cops. Like,
Hmm.
they have a legal jurisdiction. There are
Hmm.
certain things they can't do that'll get them in trouble, even if it's the right thing to do, which is a lot of source of conflict for the Green Lantern stories.
Hmm.
I forgot what the conversation was.
Well, just how Guy
Yeah.
Gardner. Well, the question
Mhm.
of is
Oh,
Superman
right.
evil
Yeah.
and
Yes.
libel and
Yeah.
bearing false
It's
witness?
yeah. Is Superman exactly what Lex is projecting onto Superman?
No.
Yeah. Because again, notice that how Lex was viewing Superman is Lex thinks Superman is exactly like him. Yeah. Which would
Yeah.
be another analogy to the Doc Savage movie from the 70s with Ron Ely, because the villain in that one thinks that everybody's like him.
Hmm.
And we see that with Lex.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's pretty disturbing. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's that question, and um
Oh, and I guess Lois's question to Superman is, you know, I know you have good intentions, but even you have to use prudence to decide, is your choice to act here the right one?
hmm.
Which was one of the things Superman had to grow on in terms of character growth, because he didn't really like that question being asked. Like, you can actually see him physically cringe at the thought that he might be doing something wrong. You know,
Yeah.
not necessarily out of pride, but just the fact that he's Superman. He views the world in a certain way. So the fact that his girlfriend is telling him people might view it as this is disturbing to him.
Hmm. Yeah, but the question of abusing power, it bothers him because he has to think about that. That's a huge responsibility. If you
Hmm.
have that much power, if you have those kinds of abilities, if you have those kinds of gifts, um, this question comes up in scripture quite a bit. Are you using those gifts for the right reasons? Are you abusing them? Are you doing them for, say, the glory of God? Are you doing them for the good of fellow man? And that's something Superman has to deal with.
Hmm.
And they actually portray that pretty well in the movie.
Yeah. While at the same time not sacrificing his archetype of being the paragon of virtue. Because you also have that with Superman. He, with few written exceptions and adaptations, Superman has almost always been a paragon of virtue that everybody, including his teammates in the Justice League, look up to.
Hmm. In fact, there's a couple of points where they say he is the greatest of us.
Yeah. Even Batman looks up to him.
Yeah, which is tough to do,
Yeah.
not just because he's
Because,
taller than him, if you go comic
yeah.
accurate. Uh,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And because, unlike Superman, Batman is sometimes susceptible to temptations towards arrogance. So,
just a tad, just a tad.
yeah.
But no, I like the performance of that
Mhm.
question. But yeah, and also it's a pretty pro life film because he's trying to save a child. He's trying
Mhm.
he even though it actually causes him great harm.
Yeah. And the fact on, oh, yeah, this was another thing that was weird. The heroes actually felt like heroes. Because, yeah, Metamorpho quite easily could have escaped that, but he didn't because Lex was emotionally threatening him with the life of his son and presumably his girlfriend, wife, Sapphire Stagg. I mean, she
Yeah.
was only seen once, so I didn't quite catch if she was also captured as well, or if they were married or not yet. Since,
Yeah.
it was a brief cameo miss if you don't know who to look for when you see a certain character. It's like, oh, they're here. Where's this one?
Like a
Yeah.
blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, such as the engineer when the Wildstorm character was like, oh no. Are the other members of the Authority or any other Wildstorm character going to appear here that Superman has to fight? Or is it just going to be her?
He had his hands full
Yeah.
with the Hammer of Bratia.
Yes. Who, when they kept doing the typed in commands, I kept expecting them to say up, down, jump, kick. Just by like how video game they were treating it.
That made me kind of roll my eyes a little bit, but
it's also Lex has evolved over the years in terms of representing what's bad, or at least what's potentially bad about American society. So it doesn't surprise me they decided to make him a billionaire with tech acolytes serving his every need.
Not gonna lie, him dropping the pencils constantly just to make people pick them up made me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah,
and
that's fitting with his character.
Yeah, and credit to James Gunn, where you could have picked any other plot with Lex Luthor, but he decided to go to the original plot that Lex Luthor first appeared in the comics with the whole political scheme. If I remember correctly, that's actually the first Lex Luthor plot ever that was done. So it's like, oh wow, he really did his research.
And are we surprised? No.
Yeah, and I will always be in favor of the trunks being over the pants. Because until 2011, that was just accepted for superheroes because, that's what weightlifters, boxers, and professional wrestlers did. And nobody had a problem with it until the jokes started coming. Yeah.
It's what he was modeled after.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever. Any other theological stuff that could be we could talk about?
I've heard a lot of people mention the theological virtue of hope on social media. But to be honest, I'm not picking a scene where that stands out, even though I'm sure it was in all of them.
Probably, honestly, it's probably the kid asking for Superman's help with the flag.
Oh,
makeshift flag.
I wanted to cry during that scene when they were chanting for his name with the flag as we're definitely not Russia coming in to kill them all. It's like
yeah, people are making it, oh, it's Palestine and Israel. I'm like, no, it's not. This was written 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down.
Yeah, this is clearly a fake Eastern European nation here. So we could be a bit more geographically accurate on who they might have been loosely based on. If you want to head down that route.
I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Calm down.
Yeah.
And people are just saying stuff, and I'm like, have you even seen the movie?
Mm-hmm.
No, you haven't. Be quiet.
Yeah, because the film wasn't woke.
No.
It didn't really make any polarizing political statements.
There's one political statement in the whole movie.
Oh, that about there's something that conservatives and liberals can agree on. Lex Luthor's a prick.
Lex Luthor sucks.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't mind that.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something Maxwell Lord would say because he's basically rivals with Lex Luthor. I'm good with it.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was that morally bankrupt character who said that. But I also liked it because in real life, that's the case where you have two people on completely opposite political spectrums in the United States involved with comic books, and yet one of the few things they'll agree on is they don't like Lex Luthor.
Or they love to
If
hate
he were
him
to be a
because
person, if he were to be a real person, that they
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
like him, which is good. Don't like,
I'm okay.
yeah. Do not be enamored with somebody who takes it as a matter of personal goal achievement to reach a new level of hate, as people on social media have been joking, where it's like, wow, I thought I was pretty far with hating somebody, but Lex taught me I can go even higher.
Don't take that as a challenge, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, that's fun. Okay, I think we've done all of that. So, shall we hit the chats?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. We got Brad Scary saying hello. Hello, Brad. I am here to
Hello.
correct any of Steven's wrong opinions. Well, I don't have any wrong opinions, thank you. It's my show.
Yes. Yes, fellow friend of the show, showing
Yeah,
we can have friendship even if we disagree about certain films. Minor
it's
things
true.
about the films in this case.
Yeah,
Because
Brad's too soft on movies.
all three of us, me, Steven, and Brad, like the movie. So,
Yes, we did. I actually went to see it with Brad, so there you go. Okay, Mike Ortega, another friend of the show, says, "Hey, all. Being a DC fan, I want Superman to do better than FF, but it helps this. But if it helps the superhero genre, I'm all for it. I don't believe it's. I'm thinking it might do better. Right now, Marvel, the opening weekend for FF is looking a little bit better than Marvel. I mean, than Superman, but Marvel's very heavy. If you follow the pattern, Marvel films are very front loaded. So the question will be legs. Will it have legs?
yes.
And most of them have not. They usually peter out pretty quick. Superman has actually been doing okay. The
Mhm.
weekend one to weekend two was less than 60%. That is unusual. So that's a
And
very good thing.
mhm.
Okay. Budget was 225 million, but to be successful, it needs to make 3 times that for marketing and other things. Well, some of that may get written off because of tax incentives because they filmed a lot in Ohio, and they also may write off stuff from sponsors such as Milkbone, and I forgot other
Yeah.
companies that pay them. So yeah, 225 million is small for a big superhero film, tentpole film like this, especially if it's starting a new universe. And I'm hoping that Supergirl will also have a small budget because that's the next film on the docket.
Mm.
So we'll
Yeah.
see.
My thought on Supergirl is it can't be any worse than the CW show.
That is true. They'll. I am pretty sure the writers will actually keep the characters consistent and not switch one who is very, very straight for like the first season and a half and then switch her to being a lesbian halfway through and make it a whole freaking storyline.
Yeah.
That's when I stopped watching because I didn't care anymore.
Yeah, I made it through the first season. I think the first few episodes of the second season I managed to survive, and then I gave up when they introduced Miss Martian at the end of one of the episodes. It's like, oh no, I can't.
If I want Miss Martian, I'm going to watch Young Justice because it's a better show.
Not that Miss Martian and Young Justice makes all the correct choices.
She's fun. Well,
Yeah,
almost. Yeah, she doesn't make all the correct choices. But anyway,
yeah.
is Christopher in Catholic Comic Book Geeks, the Facebook group?
I do not believe I am.
You should go there. We have fun there.
Yes.
That's how Mike and I know each other.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and in our earlier discussion about Superman crossing over with Popeye, Batman crossed over with Elmer Fudd in the comics recently.
Yes. I
Did
remember
he?
those
My question
crossovers.
to Mike is: did he throw a batarang to knock Elmer Fudd's gun out of his hand, or put it in the barrel and it explodes? Because I'd be okay with either of those. That would be funny.
Yeah, yeah. During that Hanna-Barbera crossover, I also know that they had Dynamite team up with the Damian Wayne Robin and the John Kent Superboy, as well as having Top Cat team up with Catwoman against Batman. Hey, if you're gonna go with goofy crossovers,
I'm, thing is, I could see James Gunn trying to do this, and it would be hilarious
mhm,
because he would embrace the absurdity. I mean, he
yeah,
had Polka Dot Man, for heaven's sake. I didn't like the Suicide Squad movie, but I mean, I gave him props for going for it.
yeah. From what I heard, it was a lot better than the first Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, that doesn't take much. It
Yeah,
was such a mess. I want
but
the air cut, but that's just me.
mm,
Pick and choose. Hi, everyone. Another friend of the show. Hi, everyone. My wife and I are looking forward to seeing Superman eventually. Last weekend, we watched this really excellent 2018 film shot in Marseille called Sur Hazade. Highly recommend it. This
okay.
weekend, we're going to watch the new 2024 Count of Monte Cristo movie. Yeah, I'm not interested. And he asked if it was a spoiler discussion. I responded in chat that it was. And then he scooted out of here because he's
Okay,
bored.
I was concerned if he's been listening the entire time.
He had not. He hopped
Okay.
on a little bit later.
Yeah, for those who
So
don't know, I don't see the chats until Steven pulls them up, so I'm not paying attention to the YouTube chat comment right now.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so those are all the chats. Actually, I'll bring up his last one. Okay, that means I can't be here. God bless, gentlemen. Well, God bless you. Um, so yeah, this was fun. A little bit longer than we originally intended, but that's okay. Because Chris and I nerded out and Theo'd out because that's what we do on this show.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
there was a lot to
for
talk about.
for those who are curious, this is front and back, but I actually typed up 6 pages of things on a history of Superman I could have discussed, and I only discussed some of what I wrote here, in case you are wondering how much I left out.
I appreciate that because we didn't want to have a 4-hour show. My wife would have my hide.
Yeah, which is a shame because I had a great joke against Zack Snyder in there, but I'll save it till later.
You can text it to me later. But yeah, a couple of common. I'm gonna take one moment. There are a couple of common complaints I've heard online that I've seen about this. Is it woke? We address that. No, it's not. No, it's Palestine, Israel. No, it's not. Um, I forgot what was another thing that's been a common one.
I never watched the video, but I saw a clickbait title of people claiming that Lex Luthor was apparently modeled after Elon Musk.
He was like
he was modeled after Lex Luthor.
He was modeled after the original Lex Luthor, but in the 21st century.
Yeah, because for those who don't know, in the comic books, Lex Luthor is, at least now in the comic books, Lex Luthor is both a scientist and a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
and Lex did very similar stuff, or people who worked for him or were associated with him did very similar stuff in other Superman films and media. Like I'm watching Lois and Clark right now because I was like, I'm gonna check out some more obscure Superman stuff.
John, she is Lex Luthor's.
He's fantastic. He's brilliant. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a season 2 episode. I think it's the first episode, actually, where the town of all of like a third of Metropolis is turning against Superman. They're like, why? And it turns out Lex Luthor's ex-wife, who's a psychologist, was doing
I
subliminal
remember
messaging.
that. Yeah.
So I'm like, this is not outside the realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nor is Lex Luthor being a harassment suit against women in the comics. Because apparently in the comics, he's a bit of a creep. Not Deathstroke levels of creep, but a creep nonetheless. Because I'm sorry, Deathstroke, but after what you did with Terra, it's like, I think you're at this pedestal nobody else can achieve just yet.
But no, it's so that one out the window. You're being ridiculous. You haven't done your research.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you're talking about. So get out of here.
And it I know Man of Steel and Batman v Superman were wanting to address Superman in the 21st century. I think this film did it better.
I agree.
Mainly because it didn't character assassinate either Superman or Batman in the process.
Even though I like both those films, but I agree with you.
Yeah, because, again, it's mainly the writing that I didn't like about those two films. It's like, why are you having Batman make logical fallacies? I understand his paranoia, but this is kind of out of character that he's just automatically going to assume that Superman's a bad guy. That's actually
I
Lex
love that
Luthor.
line. I love that scene, but yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
Batman is
Yeah,
not
that's actually something Lex would say, which is probably why Lex Luthor in that film didn't seem like Lex, because they gave that characteristic to Batman.
Not until later did Lex seem like Lex, which was sad.
Yeah.
Because
The
I think
nostalgia
Eisenberg
critic
could have played a good Lex, but
Mhm.
the script was bad.
Yeah, the nostalgia critic did a great joke when he reviewed Batman v Superman, where Lex Luthor just slowly transforms into the Joker, like over the course of him making fun of the different scenes, and at the very end, oh look, I'm bald. See, I'm comic book accurate.
Yeah. But yeah, the movie is just
Mm-hmm.
the movie. This Superman movie is good. It's solid.
Yeah.
The big question that you should ask, that should be asked, I'm going to ask you, Chris, and I'll answer it as well. Well, there are a couple. One, would you watch this film again? Two,
Yes.
do you want to come back to this world and hang out with these characters some more as they go on various adventures or misadventures, depending upon what's going on?
I know not everything so far in the James Gunn DC universe has been good since the Superman film wasn't the first installment, but at least in terms of the movies, if they're as well written as this one was, then yeah, I would like to continue it. Yes, it's going to have the fatigue of Marvel kind of beat them first in terms of a shared universe. But, DC still has hope. In my opinion, they have the better written characters. So they still have hope.
And also, Marvel has thrown away their goodwill. They tossed it out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So DC can come in and be like, hey, look, we have characters who actually act like heroes, who are actually in character. Oh, we don't have a hero on a TV show that her story is more of a villain story than an actual hero story.
Would you be referring to a certain Ironheart?
I would.
Yes.
And we'd actually have, heroic characters doing heroic things like saving people and not dropping buildings on them for no good reason.
Yeah, because, again, to briefly poke fun at Snyder, that was one of the legitimate criticisms of Man of Steel is it seemed to have taken Superman too long to try and save everybody while he was fighting the rogue Kryptonians. Like, this film, Superman doesn't have that hesitation unless he's getting the crap beaten out of him.
Yeah. And even then, he actually keeps getting the crap beaten out of him, but he still keeps trying. So
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, we actually have heroes acting like heroes and villains who are villains, and we don't want you, we actually have you like our characters, and we actually do the hero's journey.
Yeah, and we also have heroes that are optimistic and happy about being heroes. Because, I feel like this is going to turn into a Zack Snyder bashing video, but again, that was Henry Cavill did good with what he was given, but that was another thing I didn't like about how they wrote his Superman is he seemed kind of hateful of the fact that he wants to go and rescue people.
Well, when you kill your dad, when your dad's killed because he tells you not to do it, it kind of screws with your brain.
Yeah, or when the Robin Hood Jonathan Kent or Robin Hood 1 dad that is supposed to Robin Hood 2 dad, and Jor-El tells a young Clark, maybe you should let some people die if it means you hide your abilities and avoid being discovered. When he was a kid, right at the same time telling him that he shouldn't use his powers to get back at bullies that he could easily kill because he's Superman. I
Shame,
know.
because Kevin Costner was a great Jonathan Kent, just the script was so terrible. But anyway, let's not turn into a bashing Zack Snyder. Let's praise this film. This film is really, as we said, we really like how this film was written. The characters were the characters. Some story beats were a little off, but it didn't take me out of the movie too much. Editing could have used some help. Overall, the CGI was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Yeah. Crypto looked like a real dog, even though I knew there was obvious CGI, because, dogs can't fly or have super strength.
You can't pimp slap women, so,
Yeah.
The engineer, he only pimp slapped the engineer. He didn't hurt Lois. He actually was very fond of Lois.
Yeah. Oh, did you also laugh when Lex essentially, not Lex, that Crypto essentially broke Lex's arm by just ravaging him after Lex surrendered?
I thought the timing was off on that, but I appreciated the result. I would have wanted to hear Lex's full, super villainy monologue, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we've been going for a while, so I think we should call it a night. So, Chris, you said nothing to plug. I've already done my plugging for things. So, I highly recommend this film. I think it's good for kids. There's not, as I said, they take the Lord's name in vain a couple of times, but it's not heinous language.
But, outside of a few blood in the gunshot, there's no explicit scenes.
Yeah. No sex. I mean, couples kiss, big whoop.
Yeah, and they could have easily done that with Superman and Lois since they already have an established relationship. Thankfully, they didn't.
What would be the point? The most she did was, we have keys to each other's places, and she made him hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Other than macking with him, that's the sexiest thing she does for him, and he makes her dinner. That's the sexiest thing.
Yeah.
Y'all need to calm down.
They have a healthy, stable relationship.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
Let's have more.
Yes.
She's not a girl boss. It's so nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They didn't feel like, the writers didn't feel like they had to make everybody dumber just to prop Lois up.
No.
they let her be the character she is.
Yeah, including a terrible driver, but
Well, in all fairness, would you know how to pilot a super science ship?
probably not. I'd probably crash it a couple of times. She did get it to Kansas, so
Hmm.
it's all good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hmm.
but no, it's a solid movie. It's safe for your kids. I wouldn't go too young, but
Yeah, no.
if you can have them watch the animated series from the 90s, which is like Y7, so 7 and up, I think that's a safe age for your kids.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
If
it
you
is
want to,
PG-13, but it's good.
yeah. Yeah, if you feel you need to, then yeah, watch it beforehand. If you
Hmm.
feel you need to, but
Yeah. But overall,
they're,
it's safe for your kids, and
yeah,
you're going to have a good time. The Incredibles is just as violent.
yeah. If
Best
nothing else,
Fantastic
they'll be
Four movie ever
distracted by
made,
crypto.
including the latest one. Why couldn't they just fall on okay, I'm gonna get off my anti-FF rant. All right. All right, my friend. We'll talk later
Yes,
offline. But thank you for joining me, and thanks for taking the time to go see the film so we could talk about
yes,
it. And I'm glad you enjoyed it almost as much as I did.
yes.
We're about similar levels, and that's okay.
Yeah,
So
much
thanks for
better than
joining me.
Conclave.
Yes. Polar opposites. Take Conclave like Superman a lot.
Yeah,
So anyway, thank you, my friend. We will talk soon. And I've already read your article, your upcoming article. I'm
yes.
looking forward to everyone else reading your article.
Hmm.
So we'll talk offline. All right.
Okay.
In the meantime, everyone who's still watching or will watch later, you can pick this up later in the live tab. Be bold, be brave, be courageous. Enjoy your beverages. In my case, it's water. God bless.